The Twins beat the Royals again at Target Field on Tuesday night, with Simeon Woods-Richardson making another strong start. The bullpen shutting down Kansas City's offense almost completely over the final 4 innings, and Carlos Correa helping to save the day with another patented butt tag. Let's talk about that and a lot more. Strap yourselves in for the next 30 or so minutes and get locked on Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome, and please settle in for another edition of Locked On Twins. Thank you for making us a destination for Twins baseball talk. We are your hosts. I'm Dave Brown, and you can follow me on Twitter at AnswerDaveBrown. And across cyberspace, my co-host is Brandon Warren, and you can unfollow him at Brandon_Warren, and that's got an E at the end. You'll find him on there. Don't worry about it. Brandon, say hello to the nice people.
Hey, everybody. I am also pleased to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride alive. With all the parts you need at prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big W. So keep your ride alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's guaranteed fit is only available to U.S. customers.
So professional. I hope to one day be as professional as Brandon Warren when it comes
Get on my level, right?
Maybe you Twins fans out there watched the Timberwolves stay alive in the NBA's Western Conference Finals by holding off the Mavericks, and that's cool. I grew up keeping one eye on baseball and the other on Michael Jordan once the calendar turned to May, so I get it. But We're here to focus on the Twins. They beat the Royals 4-2, and while it's not close to anywhere close to NBA playoff intensity, it is important, these AL Central games. They're going to have an impact on the standings, possible playoff seeding. So we're not chopped liver over here is what I'm saying. So who was big? In no particular order of bigness: Simeon Woods-Richardson, Jorge Alcala, Josh Stalmont against his old club, Christian Vasquez as well, and Carlos Correa on defense. Manuel Margot, Jose Miranda, Byron Buxton, Edouard Julien with some good insurance, did well on the offensive side. Those were the stars. What was your first impression of the game, Brandon? We'll let you talk again.
I thought you might name everybody, and that just leaves nothing for me.
Well, I just wanted to make sure no one was left out.
Simeon Woods-Richardson, it's hard when you have only 5 innings pitched and you say, 4 strikeouts doesn't feel like a lot. But 4 in a 5-inning start, whatever. I mean, my rule of thumb is 1 per inning is what I consider good, and then everything is a standard deviation above or below that. But I think what encouraged me most was 83 pitches, and I think I saw 10 swinging strikes. So, I usually figure 10 for every 100 pitches is average-ish. He was above that, and that was the big thing I felt like I didn't see in his first few starts was, even if the numbers said otherwise, I didn't feel like he had hitters guessing. It was more along the lines of a little smoke and mirrory, if I could say that. So I thought, and they did a nice job. They got him out of there early enough to where, you don't let him face these hitters too many times. He faced 20 hitters total, so barely spun it over a third time. And the bullpen was terrific. 4 shutout innings, 5 strikeouts, 2 hits. Both those hits were Juan Duran specials. But it was interesting to see because the Twins pitched Jorge Alcala and Josh Stalmont, who in my estimation are definitely not afters, but maybe not necessarily befores either, before handing it over to Jackson Duran. Now, if people are picking up what I'm laying down for the first time, befores are what we call relievers who pitch before the Twins take a lead, and afters are after. So, like, we saw all of the befores tonight from the Royals bullpen, or at least that's pretty much exclusively what we saw. I think Carlos Hernandez throws the crap out of the ball, but he has no idea where it was going tonight. Now, with that said, really encouraging innings from Alcala and Stalmont. And anytime you can get some of these before guys to creep toward that after territory, you got to be pretty enthused.
For as excited as we were anticipating what the bullpen would be like this season, there haven't been too many games where it's kind of set up like this, where it seemed like from the 6th inning on, everybody that the Twins brought in looked comfortable in their role, looked comfortable holding a lead. There is something to that. These guys have experience doing that. Maybe Alcala a little less. Last year was one thing, but Stalmont used to be a bridge to a closer kind of relief pitcher. And it was kind of nice to see. You felt like the Twins were in control there. That was one of Alcala's best performances of the season. Kind of harkening back to really early before he got hurt the first time. Stalmont continues to impress. He was getting it up. I saw at least one pitch that hits 96, but really it was his command of the slider that is going to sink or swim him for the rest of the year. So I liked how he did in kind of his revenge hold game against his old club. Jax was great. Duran didn't pitch bad. He had to kind of hold it down in the 9th inning. The 9th inning was a little tense again. Not quite like yesterday, not like Monday, the opener. But the Royals almost put the tying run on second with nobody out. But the Twins defense stepped up to the plate and over it and threw on to second base. And Vasquez and Correa teamed up to get Daron Blanco on a steal, and he was out by a lot. And Correa, another booty tag, and he's the master of that. It was fun because, and Rocco, I think, pointed this out post game. All of the elements were kind of working for the Twins. I mean, they didn't score a ton of runs, which you're not going to expect maybe to do that with Cole Reagans on the mound,
right?
But they scored enough. The pitching was either dominant or just professional enough to get the job done, and the defense was there. The Royals made a couple of mistakes on defense that cost them at least one run, if not more. And that really didn't happen with the Twins. It was an encouraging game. It's for as spotty and inconsistent as the Twins have played, this was one of their more complete games. At least, maybe they didn't pile on the runs, but as far as everything else went, I thought it was really impressive.
No errors and doing a lot of the small things correct, which those things matter. And I want to hone in on a couple things because you talked about Stalmont. He only threw 2 of his 10 pitches, fastballs or sinkers, one at 95.6 and one at 96.5. So those are both a good 1 to 1.5 miles per hour above his season average. Threw a lot of sliders, and the velo was up on those too. But Simeon Woods Richardson threw 43 sliders and 36 four-seam fastballs. The velo on the fastball was up just a 0.3, so not anything meaningful. But the velo on the slider was down 1.3. I wonder if that's not intentional to get it a little more break, get a little more swing and miss, because a lot of times when you throw your slider that hard, it shortens to a cutter or a short slider. I've had a lot of guys tell me, they would throw both and it would just matter how hard they threw it. And I think maybe that's something to keep an eye on with Simeon Woods Richardson, who got 6 of his 10 whiffs on that slider. Maybe that's something.
One of the things that I liked about him, short of getting swings and misses, was I think his breaking ball and his fastball mix got outs in different ways. It was very mature and professional performance. Listening to the guys in the booth, LaTroy and Morneau, but also Glenn Perkins in the postgame show. A couple times they remarked on how, kind of the nuance of Simeon Woods Richardson's performance was kind of a step forward for him, was an improvement. And, they noted how big the game was and coming up in a big spot. And I know, we've talked about, it's only May. We're basically a third of the way through the season or something like that. So there's a long way to go. But this was a big game. And I think, the Twins were properly aware of that and prepared for that. And I liked, it was funny. I don't know how many fans got to see the post-game show with Simeon Woods, but Richardson, but he was, he had taken notes and he had written down a bunch of things that other people had done in the game that made it a win for the Twins. And I thought that was really cool. and kind of a little bit of an insight into how this clubhouse works. I thought it was neat that he took the time, kind of like a reporter, I guess, to sort of write down things that he thought were big moments, and just to make sure that he got the word out there. So I like, the vibes are good with this team. They're playing pretty well. They're beating this team here, the Royals, that they absolutely have to jump them in the AL Central standings. I don't think, as we tape, I think that the Guardians are probably going to beat the Rockies. It's hard to expect to gain a game on them, but gaining a game on the Royals is huge. So, all right, we're about into break time. So, Brandon, why don't you do your professional thing right now?
By the way, Simeon Woods Richardson's taking our jobs. I felt like I was pretty annoyed. He's doing all this journalistic fun reporter stuff. And you know what?
Yes.
Stick to pitching because you're pretty good at that.
I don't know. You can have my job, I think, sometimes I feel like. But
well, yeah, we'll take a quick second. When we come back, we'll talk more the Twins doing exactly what they need to, which has gotten them now to within 6 games of the division, at least as of this second. Although, you know what? Let me hit refresh. It might be 6.5 again. Yeah, now that the Guardians finished off the Rockies. So 6.5, still not perfect, still not great, but we'll talk more about it when we come back. Passion, drive, and patience are the formula for winning championships and also what keep your ride alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and much, much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. So keep your ride alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, and eBay's Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers.
Is that a one-off, Brandon?
Yes, sorry, I should have specified. We have one-offs for today, 1 and 1. So yes, you are free to retake the reins.
I may now speak again. No, I didn't want to step over any more wonderful professional ad reads. But
yeah, well, it's good. It's as good as we're gonna get.
Right. We haven't talked much about the offense.
Right.
Kind of maybe working backward a little bit. Edouard Julien got in a position he was down. He had 2 strikes. There was Byron Buxton on third base after Buxton had stolen and hit a triple, I should say. Actually, when did Buxton hit the triple? Was it earlier?
Yeah, no, Buxton's triple earlier I think he got, wasn't he stranded?
Yeah, he was. But I was going to mention that Buxton hit the triple, which is a very Buxton thing to do. So that was encouraging.
And he did steal a base later on. It looked like vintage Buxton. It felt like, hey, Byron's back. That's pretty cool. And then, he walked, stole second, went to third on the Castro ground out, and then scored on Julien's single, which Julien, gets to 2-2, takes a slider, fouls off a fastball, drives a fastball, or I don't know if you'd say drive, but he hit it pretty well.
He was helped by the infield being in a little bit and getting the bat on the ball.
Well, and the previous plate appearance when they had shift change at the Mines and he came in, he took a call third strike, which again has been like his Achilles heel, his boogaboo, whatever you want to call it. So to not do that again, even Justin Morneau made a note of it. He's like, you cannot go. I think it was Morneau said, you can't go down looking here. You got to base hit, ball 4, base hit, ball 4, or at least a swing. And you know what? And the other thing too is with how he's hit fastballs, they attacked him knuckle curve, splitter, forcing fastball, slider, forcing fastball. So not that I would have gone back to the breaking ball, but you get into a deep count like that and you're going to probably get a fastball. That's a good matchup for Julien. The issue though is he did take a fastball in that first plate appearance. So I think he's aware of what he can and can't hit, or at least what he has and hasn't hit. But again, the called third strikes, like I'm elated for him to get that big hit, that insurance run that was so necessary as things got dicey in the 9th. But again, I'm still just like, ugh, these called third strikes, man. They're too much.
No, and they're pitches that are close enough to swing at. It's
Yep.
not. We're not talking about a bad call by an umpire or even one that a pitch that like a really good pitcher's pitch. Sometimes pitchers throw pitcher's pitches that are strikes that if you swing, you're probably not going to get a good result. But you're
Right.
definitely not going to get a guy in from third with by putting the bat on the ball if you don't swing in the first place. So I don't
Mhm.
think there was any way he was going down looking in that last at bat. He was going to swing the bat and see what happened. But setting that up, Buxton again. It's funny how if he gets a day off or a few days go by, he can look refreshed. And
Yep.
we've remarked before how better the team is on defense with Buxton in the lineup, and being able to, and he's kind of. I mean, this is not anything that Twins fans don't know, but it is a little frustrating to watch Buxton closely, like every at bat, because he can recognize good pitches from bad. I mean, if he goes up there with a plan and the right concentration, he can spit on those sliders in the dirt or whatever. And it's just a much better lineup when he is doing his thing. But mostly, I think it was his athleticism, stealing a base, hitting a triple. Like you said, he was stranded after
How
that
about the
one.
play he made on the Perez double too?
For sure.
That was also like he's still got some spring in his step 3 hours into the evening or whatever it was.
It wasn't, I don't know if that kept him from taking another base or anything, but it was a good indicator that it was a good indicator that he's feeling good. And it's a different dynamic when he is.
Well, don't sleep on or don't look now. Don't whatever now, but Buxton 2 for 2 with 2 walks, slashing now 254, 308, 426, which is perfectly respectable when you play good defense. And in today's environment, that's a 109 weighted runs created plus. So he is 9% above league average, despite the fact that he hasn't really gone on that Buxton heater that, there's times when he is really hot where it feels like every bit of contact he makes is just absolutely sizzling exit velocity. And so I kind of sense, though, that he's getting closer to those. The only thing that I really see from him that I'm kind of like, is he seems to really swing through a lot of sliders that are just off the plate. And they're not pitches he's going to make any contact with. And, so it's just maybe just a misread or whatever. But it doesn't look like, I don't know. It's a kind of a disjointed thing where it's like, oh, he pulled off on that and he wasn't going to hit it anyway. You know what I mean?
Well, he's never, we talk about like his approach and how sometimes maybe it's a little frustrating to fans who maybe, it's not like we're going to get up there and do any better, but he's never going to be Frank Thomas at the plate. He's never going to recognize, every pitch and put himself in a great opportunity to, in a position to take advantage of any situation. That's not going to happen. But I think showing the signs that he is an encouraging thing. So
I think if he were to blow up offensively, he'd hit like 280 with like a 330, 335 on base, but he'd slug like 550. A tremendous season, but a lot of that value is tied up in power, not walking. He'll take a walk very, very seldom. He's not exactly Eddie Rosario, but he's not far off.
Right.
But the Thunder, when he connects, is unlike anything I ever expected to see from him. And it's great, but we just haven't seen enough of it yet this year. But tonight was a step in the right direction.
Couple other notes. Margot, Vasquez hit a ball really hard and got his first extra base hit against a left-handed pitcher this year. It was an issue though with Garrett Hampson, kind of missing the ball. I think he missed a couple of plays out there in the field. I'm not sure if it was that he lost it in the lights or what, but it wasn't the one where he totally outran it and it landed in foul territory. That could have been extremely embarrassing. But so Vasquez contributes. No kidding. He contributes that way. Margot got a couple more hits and an RBI. Miranda with another big hit. So, we talk about Royce Lewis, who had another. He didn't get any hits tonight in his rehab assignment with AAA, but he's coming back soon. there's going to have to be somebody coming off the roster, and the guys who are they're not really making it any easier to make this decision in the next 72 hours or whenever it is that Royce Lewis comes back. I don't know if you think there's anybody in the horse race here that's keeping themselves from going away, but with these recent performances.
I mean, I know Julian had a big game yesterday and had a big hit tonight, but he's still the guy for me. I still need a reset there. He's playing good defense at second base, which is not something we expected. But I mean, even with the good games he's played the last couple of days, he's still hitting 213, 315 on base, 381 slug. That's just not enough for me with the at-bats that he's been having, where I know he knows the strike zone, but like he's not taking pitches that are a ball off the plate, a baseball off. Like you said, he's taking strikes.
Right.
And that's problematic for me with his skill set. So it's still Julien for me. I think I let Castro play second base with Kyle Farmer back and forth, and then maybe Brooks Lee in due time. But again, we saw Julien collide with Bobby Witt Jr., and that's almost the adage of as soon as you think you have too many players, something happens. And I don't know. I thought Julien was concussed. I'm glad he wasn't, but
well, at least so far he isn't.
Yeah,
but
he didn't look too well after that.
A couple more notes on that we'll talk about after a break.
All right. Yeah, we'll take a quick pause here. We got that, and then we've got a couple more games to look to. It's a 4-game series, so those are always fun. But again, as you stated, a quick word. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL. And of course, if you're an NBA fan from Minnesota, you know that with Minnesota beating the Dallas Mavericks and at least bringing the series back to Minnesota. But FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, and player props. And beyond that, much, much more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. We are going to keep an eye on that Wolves game and see if the line moves, because it's going to be at home. And if you get the series back to 3-2, boy, it is game on. But FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook.
Yeah, Brandon, you mentioned the collision with Bobby Witt at second base. And then earlier in the game, Buxton's running to first base, steps down on the inside part of the bag and collides with Vinny Pasquantino, knocks him out of the game. When things like that happen, you definitely worry that, Buxton has broken something, or, has some kind of horrible thing has happened to him again. But I think it's a contusion. I don't think it's a major injury, but Pasquantino couldn't finish the game, and that was a big moment. Not having him around that's a big bat in the lineup for the Royals. So, like you said, scary stuff in a couple instances for the Twins tonight.
Yeah. What was your read on that Pasquantino situation? Because just based on Twitter, you'd think that Byron Buxton fired Vinny Pasquantino into the sun or something.
I think that it is one of the more difficult maneuvers that Major League Baseball players have because the base is inside the line. And I know that they've relaxed, relaxed how the runners are able to approach the first base bag. It's as far as throws and that kind of thing. But guys, I mean, Buxton's, a veteran at this point. He's got his way of doing it. And I mean, he didn't mean anything by it. I don't even think it was like reckless or dangerous. I think it is just kind of a fact of how much space there is to deal with. It's a very tiny space. I kind of can't believe that this stuff doesn't happen more often. Right. And I thought during the game, here's another reason why we should have that extended orange base at first base for reasons like that. So base runners, not just Buxton, can clearly avoid making contact with the first baseman. And it's not just a play like this. When first baseman has to reach over or whatever and be worried about, Cliff Lee had his elbow ripped off almost one time doing that. So it's a dangerous, tricky play. And I think we're breathing a sigh of relief for Buxton, and hopefully it's just a bruise for Vinny.
It's incredible how really good first basemen make that play look as easy as they do, because there's times where if a throw is gonna run high, or I don't know how else you'd say it, there are guys who will step to the back of the bag and reach back and make that catch.
Right.
I have, in my entire life, I've played first base thousands of innings. I have never been able to make that play. I've made a lot of plays, for better or worse, for lucky, for actual skill. For whatever reason, I have never made that stepping back behind the bag, reaching above my head play. And I don't know. I think I'm running out of time, so we'll see if it ever happens. But you get a really good appreciation for how really good first basemen handle things around the bag when you play a little yourself. And granted, I've played at very low levels. This is not to be confused with Carlos Santana over there or anything, but
Right.
it's incredible how some of those guys do such a good job.
I think I remember. I mean, this is going way back, but I think I remember Don Mattingly being good at in the recesses catching those throws and going into foul territory. You can do that as a first baseman. It's not something that you necessarily think of, and that can be dangerous too, because the runner is very often coming from there. So
and you don't want the ball to hit the runner either. Not that you can control that, but you have to kind of figure out the timing of when is the ball going to get here? Where do I have to be? How do I stay out of his way while still catching the ball? And it's like a symphony. You got to have all the pieces moving just right. And it's beautiful when it works. And it's absolute garbage when it doesn't. People get hurt. People get injured badly at first base for many reasons. And bad first base play is part of it.
You have to, I don't know if it's you have to see into the future or just anticipate or, take an educated guess on the trajectory of a throw, but it's tough to do. And it's difficult for base runners to do it without putting themselves or another player in danger too.
The most important thing is to not overcommit before you know where the throw is going. And that's the other thing. When you've got a guy like Carlos Correa firing seeds over, you don't have that much time to shuffle your feet. Now, fortunately for everyone involved, Correa's throws seem to go to the same exact spot almost every single time. Like that, it's an incredible level of consistency that I don't know I've ever seen out of a defensive shortstop. Again, I've grown up with the Twins, and they have not had a great history of shortstops, at least not since I've been alive. But it's just incredible how he makes everything look as easy as he does. But yeah, overcommitting to a throw and not setting yourself up on the bag just right can make things look real bad and really open you up to injuries, not only to yourself, but to your competitors.
And Correa, we mentioned the tag earlier. He had one of those diving plays tonight where he was able to do it, get to his feet real quickly and fire to first.
Was that Garcia that he robbed from that one, or was it Blanco?
I thought it was Garcia. Blanco was a pinch runner. I think it was Michael Garcia.
That's right. No, you're right. Garcia later in the game stole a hit from Ryan Jeffers, and I remember thinking Jeffers looked as forlorn as I've seen him coming off the field. He was bummed because he's struggling. I mean,
yeah, he is.
No, who wouldn't love to be a struggling hitter who's batting .252 with a .515 slug? Like, he's still got a really nice season line, but he's starting to feel the pressure a little bit. And
that was a really nice play by Garcia.
Incredible.
Kind of similar to Correa's at short in that, he was able to get to his feet and got him. Jeffers is running. It's not Buxton running to first base, but he got him easy. So it was special from that standpoint.
Great play.
In our final moments, we'll mention that we look ahead. We still got 2 more games to go in this series. One factor, we talked a lot about Duran coming in, but he's thrown, I think, 54 pitches in 4 out of 5 games.
4 out of 5, Friday. Yeah.
So definitely, probably not going to. We saw Diego Castillo, new guy.
That's what I say.
Tonight,
Diego Castillo might be coming here.
Yes. I thought Castillo might even have closed out that game. Well, he might have to close out Wednesday because no Duran.
Hey, if it means they're ahead, we'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking, maybe it would be nice if they were able to, work on some more runs, maybe doubling up the runs. And
the old 10-2 where Cole Sands can finish it off.
Something like that. But but still 2 more games to go with the Royals. And kind of like how we said earlier, that these games are huge because they're 2-game swings. The Royals can still get back even with the with after their they've lost 3 games in a row now. They haven't lost 4 all season. So this is a team that has stopped the bleeding, that has not let the losses get them down. And we've seen them kind of fight back in the 9th inning. Just because the Twins have scored wins in the first 2 games of the series doesn't mean that they're definitely going to sweep this thing.
Well, you're only as good as tomorrow's starting pitcher, and Seth Lugo has been, as you've stated a few times, exceptional this year. So we'll see what comes of that. But he against Ober, it's not quite the mismatch I think we might have expected with Ragans and Simeon Woods Richardson.
Right.
But the difference in how they've pitched this year, Ober's been perfectly solid,
right,
but Lugo's been incredible. And so we'll see. I mean, it should be a good one. It wouldn't be shocked me if it's another 3-2, 4-2, 5-3 kind of game.
Yeah. I mean, and Lugo, he's been just about the best pitcher in the American League so far, and he doesn't have to regress much.
No.
For for if he gives up 2 or 3 runs, I mean that might be the regression for Lugo. So I don't know if the offense is going to put up big numbers or not against him tomorrow, but at least he's not a lefty. That always seems to mess things up.
Exactly.
All right. Well, for Brandon Warren, this is Dave Brown. Thank you for making Locked On Twins your post-game destination and your definition, if you want. Yep. We're going to see you later and see you tomorrow night and all that stuff. And thanks for staying with us. And I could have done the ending better here, Brandon. I know I kind of lost the script a little bit, but
yeah, we're circling the dream, but that's okay. Hey, let's take a 23.5 hour break and we'll see everyone tomorrow night.